Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here today to talk about The Flash, a movie that came out in June 2023, a movie that did not do good at the box office at all. It's been 3 months, so we just rewatched it. So we're gonna talk about our feelings, see how we felt about the movie, see if we still felt the same way we did when we first came out of it, when we saw it. So if you want to go first, man, what did you think about The Flash?
So I guess before we even discuss how we felt about the movie, I think we have to address the whole like Ezra Miller part of it,
Oh,
um, because that's kind of the thing too. That I think that's part of the reason why it didn't do well is because Ezra Miller was the lead in the movie.
yeah.
So because of that and because of everything that happened, that I think it definitely caused some people to not want to go watch it and stuff like that. And what we say is not going to necessarily reflect on what happened with Ezra and all that stuff, but we're gonna try to talk just about the movie and without
Yeah.
any indications on what the actors did outside of the movie. Just
You know,
FYI.
it's funny because normally I consider you a gentleman, so I'm surprised that you went there right away. Honestly, I was gonna make a joke about like, should we talk about the big elephant in the room? When we do talk about this movie, but I was actually gonna talk more about the special effects with the movie and sort of avoid any kind of any kind of discussion with the actor. Because again, if you've been following the news, you know what's going on with him. They are currently getting help, so I don't wanna kick a
Mhm.
man when he's down. But I mean, overall, Ro, like, did you enjoy this movie outside of the Ezra Miller stuff? When you were watching it?
So that's the thing. Like I saw the good parts and the bad parts. Like I still haven't seen a live action Flash the way that I would kind of expect Flash to be. Like even in the show Flash,
Yeah.
I liked the show. I'm even almost like I even started the last season, even though it's
Mm.
kind of gone longer than it needs to. But like I like that show, and even here with Ezra, like I'm not a big like these don't represent the type of Barry Allen that I kind of expect, but they are their own versions of Barry Allen. So we have to take it kind of as it is. So I considering this Barry Allen, I think the actual acting part of it and that part is actually fine. I think it works. I I like a lot of different aspects of it, but I also have some issues with part of it. And then I think a big thing that we also have to address is the role that this movie plays in the DCU slash DCEU or whatever it's supposed to be playing, because I think that DC really missed an opportunity to reset the whole world with this movie, but they did what they did, and I don't know, I think that they could have done a little bit. They could have done things a little bit different, especially considering who they had available, like Michael Keaton and
Yeah.
and and big review at the end.
Dude, it's crazy because I didn't bring a fire extinguisher, so I didn't think you were gonna start taking shots at the CW Flash. I didn't expect that to even come into the conversation. I watched like six seasons of that show. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I think at some point it just became too much for me to watch week by week, and I just haven't gotten back to it. But
Hmm.
I do want to say like I enjoyed that show a lot. As
Yeah.
far as like this movie, I think the second time I rewatched it, I definitely saw a lot more of the flaws. And if I have one problem with this movie, is that this movie took so long to get made from when it was first like a statement was done that they were going to make it the Flash movie. And I now looking at the product that we got, I almost wish they would have gone a different way with the storyline. I almost wish I lived in a different timeline where instead of doing the whole Michael Keaton Batman, maybe they could have done, because I don't know if you know this, but in one of the, I think it was Batman versus Superman, they established that Batman's father was played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan from The Walking Dead. So I would have liked it if they would
Oh
have
yeah, yeah.
followed.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Thomas
So,
Wayne. Yeah.
yes, I would have liked it if they would have been a little bit more straightforward with the Flashpoint storyline, and then he would have been met Batman, and instead of being
Oh my
Batman,
God,
it
he
would have
would have
been
been
like,
such a good Batman
dude, if you have
with the
him as a
guns.
character and it's already established in the universe, like why not? Like why not? So it's like it's hard for me to again. I actually enjoyed Michael Keaton a lot in this movie, but just that idea
Hmm.
of like not getting him because I love him as a comedian. So I think it would have pushed them to do the story a little bit more different with having that kind
As a
of.
comedian.
He's the comedian in HBO.
Oh, the comedian in the Watchmen.
The Watchmen, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I was like, I thought you were saying that the Michael Keaton was a comedian. I was like,
No,
what?
I'm saying
Oh,
Morgan D. Yeah,
no,
he
yeah,
was.
yeah.
He's one of my like
Jeffrey D.
that
Morgan.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, that actor from that movie has always kind of like he's always had my heart because he did such a great portrayal of a character that I didn't know anything about. Um,
dude, he's done a lot of really good characters because he did him, and then in Supernatural he was the Winchester dad, and
mm,
then obviously his biggest role, which is Negan,
yeah,
that I thought he's been amazing at.
no, definitely. And like I said, I think I don't have a problem with Michael Keaton. Bringing him back because the guy looks great, and he still
Hmm.
kick ass. He kicked ass in a lot of the scenes that I saw. I just kind of like feel the part of the movie that kind of brought me down, and not to get to like to the end, but like I could have done without the whole Sod, coming in and Kryptonians and the Flash fighting Kryptonians. I just think that didn't work for me at all. Honestly, you would have done better bringing either Danny DeVito as the Penguin or Arno as Mr. Freeze. If you were gonna do that and bring Michael Keaton back, like why not? I think
No.
that would have gotten a lot more butts in the seats. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the movie from the beginning and everything.
All right, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's start earlier on than kind of the that part. So even before going into the movie, that was part of it too. That you kind of go in with these like preconceptions because even besides everything with Ezra, like you had all this hype coming from everybody. Like they were saying that it was such a great movie. Even
Tom
James
Cruise,
Gunn,
even Tom
yeah,
Cruise said that.
yeah, Tom Cruise and James Gunn was saying that it was like such a great movie, and it had like so much hype from people. And so like I went to see it like opening weekend, and I saw it in a big theater and everything. And then like I will say I did enjoy it when I saw it in theaters a little bit more than now because
Hmm.
I've had more time to kind of reflect and kind of see what else resulted from that. And plus, I've seen Blue Beetle and all that stuff too. So kind of going back to it, it kind of starts, and then you have the same goofy Barry Allen. That's not like the good kind of goofy, just kind of like I don't know. That's something that like I'm still juggling with, but for what it was, he did a good job. Um, kind of selling like a goofy kind of a nerd, kind of like out of place, kind of awkward. And then you kind of have those like jokey moments in the beginning where
Yeah.
he's in the coffee place and it's not the same girl that we serves them, and he's trying to like get everything quick, and they reference all like the fact that he's already low on energy and all that stuff, and then he they kind of make fun of a lot of things, and but I do like the fact that they kind of make fun of themselves too,
Yeah.
because they're kind of throwing a lot of things at like a lot of jokes at superhero culture and stuff like
Yeah.
that with the Flash.
Like I didn't have a problem with early in the movie you kind of have like the Justice League because he's part of that, and I like that, man. I like the idea of like Batman in the daylight and he needs help and he's asking Barry to get his butt over here, and this whole idea that he's just kind of like the janitor, even though Barry should be the one actually stopping all the criminals. He's actually like
Yeah,
in cleanup mode.
yeah.
I will say, man, they I don't care what the director of this movie says because he's already kind of came forward and said that the special effects was purposely done the way they've done it. But that whole hospital scene with babies dropping and him putting them in microwaves just did not work for me, especially when we've gotten such crazy scenes from like X-Men, with somebody with the, what's his name, Quicksilver, that can move so fast. So it's just so crazy that in 2012, the X-Men franchise was doing such amazing work with somebody that has these kind of powers. But then here we are in 2023, and that whole scene, man, just didn't work for me at all. Like the dog and everything about it is just so goofy. And I do think had that scene been a little bit more impactful, it could have put people in like a little bit more of a different mentality, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a blast. But just that whole scene kind of like right off the bat kind of ruins it for me a little bit.
Well, the thing about that scene is it's gonna set the mood of like how the high speed is gonna look.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna look like everything else is in slow motion, and he can like process everything in hyperspeed or whatever. And then kind of just like the small movements of everything is kind of impacts everything else because it's already a movement or whatever. So
Yeah.
so it kind of sets the mood of like the science behind the super speed a little bit, even though it ignores other things. But yeah, but you kind of get that first glimpse of like how the CGI is going to be
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it was like,
I wish I had a picture of a baby so I could put it in your face so you could be like the monstrosity of what like the babies look like. But
yeah,
I mean, again, it was a fun scene because I like this whole idea of he's talking Batman's butler. What's his name?
Alfred.
Alfred. So that was kind of
Yeah.
fun. And then the Batman stuff. I like the Batman stuff a lot. I didn't like the way
Mm-hmm.
the Batman costume looked. I was really hyped up for it in the trailers. But then once we got the up close, I really didn't kind of like the mask kind of like threw me off a little. But I did like a lot
Yeah.
of like, I was a big fan of Ben Affleck coming back and, redoing his role as the Batman. I almost feel bad for the guy because I know he never got his solo movie, but I think he did a good job, man. I'm not in the boat or the train of people hating on Ben Affleck's Batman. I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people do regret the fact that we just could never do something really good with that actor and the character in their own solo movie, sadly.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I completely agree. And I've like in the beginning when I heard that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, I was totally against it. But
Oh,
honestly, he's kind of grown on me as Batman.
yeah.
He's just a little bit different Batman, and he kind of has his good and his bad. I think
Yeah.
I don't think he's a very good Bruce Wayne, but he's
Yeah.
actually not a bad Batman.
No. I think it's like I have that thing where like I have problems, not associating the real Ben Affleck with Batman because I just think he just does a great job, man. And like
Mm-hmm.
there's rumors that we might get him as his Daredevil in the Deadpool 3. So like I'm actually kind of
Oh my
excited
god!
if he did that, but I think the
Oh,
Wonder Woman.
because they confirmed Jennifer Garner, didn't they?
I
To
think so. I believe so. So that would be
yeah,
hilarious. But
as
the stuff that
Electra.
doesn't work with me anymore, man, is the Wonder Woman. Like this is a character that I loved her first solo movie. I was a big fan of the second one when it was kind of coming out, and then after I watched it and I watched it a couple times, I realized like, oh, this is just not working for me. But I was on the whole like I like Wonder Woman as a character, but then these whole cameo stuff they've done with her, like it's ruining the persona of like Wonder Woman, this whole Gal Gadot coming in, the music. It's just like people are so sick of it, and I can't blame them.
At this point, I think it's becoming more Gal Gadot than Wonder Woman. That's the
Yeah,
thing that like that character is becoming more of the actress than the character because it's like it works in the first movie because it's like the accent works because she's from Timasquira or whatever, and
yeah.
then it kind of carries throughout the whole movie, and then the fact that she's out of place and all that stuff. So it works. In the second one, it works a little bit less, and the story could have used some work. But then like with all these cameos that they're having her do, it's kind
It's
of diminishing the character.
no, I agree, man. Like it's just one of those things, and then just the fact that there seems to be like conflicting reports on whether she is coming back or they're done with her as Wonder Woman. So I don't know what's really happening with that. But I do want to talk about some of the positives in this movie as far as like some of the actors. Like I kind of mentioned like I like Ben Affleck. Something that I was a fan of was the whole relationship that Barry has with his father. And then once we do meet his mother, which I love that actress. Have you ever seen Y Tu Mamá También? She's great in that movie. But
It's
yeah,
her,
I believe so. I believe so. She's I believe that's the actress.
dude. I haven't
But
seen that movie in forever. I didn't even put it together.
yeah. So I'll look it up as we're talking. But I
Hmm.
really did enjoy that relationship with Barry and his family, whether it's in the present with his dad or just when he goes back in time. and that whole interaction, it does make me feel that if this woman got taken away from my life at an early age and I had this kind of powers, like I would also do everything that I could to like bring her back, because she just seemed like the sweetest, best mom in the world. Which, that was something again that I do want to say that was a very like a positive for me, that whole relationship with his mom. I'm looking her up. It's a Spanish actress, Maribel Verdú. So she's the one from Mi Tu Mamá También, Pan's Labyrinth. So again, somebody that I've always been a fan of. It's funny because her, Diego Luna, and I forget the other guy's name from Mi Tu Mamá También. They just became such big actors. But
Garcia Bernal.
Yeah, him. He's always had a phenomenal career. But
Oh,
yeah, man,
dude,
like
they're so good though. They're like great
yeah.
actors. That's probably why
No,
that movie's so good.
yeah, that's why this movie, her, is just again, great seeing her.
Yeah.
Anything positive else that you kind of have early in the beginning? How did you like his friends, Barry's friends?
I really didn't. I don't know. They were just there. Like they served their purpose. They were kind of weird and kind of like poked at him a little bit, but it was
Yeah,
fine. Iris, I don't know. Like I guess I didn't get a reason why she would be into Barry.
yeah.
Like I think she was sweet. I think she was like very empathetic. I think the actress did fine, and I think she did fine with the character. I just didn't believe why she would care about Barry, because I don't know. I just don't think that they really built that up enough. And it's Iris West, so it's supposed to be who he's
You
with.
know, they kind of reference this deleted scene from the whole Justice League
Justice League.
movie where he
Yeah.
saves her, and I could see maybe if she believes that she saw him or not. But yeah, I agree. Like I'm almost reaching just to find a reason to believe that she could have had a reason to like want to reconnect with this guy, other than actually doing her job, which is being a journalist, and her
Yeah.
secretly like trying to dig up information. I did think it was kind of funny when she went to visit him in his apartment, and it's like, do you want a beer? And then he steals it from the neighbor.
That's
And then this
hilarious.
whole
Honestly, that was one of like yeah, because before she even went in, he like went in and like picked up everything up and put it in like closets and stuff, and then randomly throughout her visit, like stuff just starts falling out, like one
yeah.
closet, and then right after he leaves, it's the other closet. Everything just falls out of. I thought it was funny.
No, but I think after that, I think he gets the idea, or he starts being like,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go back and do something about this. And it all starts with the tomato cans, man. It's kind of crazy how how just moving a tomato can, or having somebody actually take a tomato can from the grocery store home, can just change the universe in this world the way it did. A little bit
Well,
too
yeah.
crazy, a little bit too crazy if you ask me. But I mean, that's when the
Well,
movie starts.
it's the butterfly effect, though. That's the thing. That's the whole point of the butterfly effect.
Well, I know like Michael Keaton kind of try to explain like it's not just things going forward. They try to like do a whole big leap. There's like everything
Mm-hmm.
even in the past, which again, I'm okay with it. Like again, I don't mind that they did that. It's just at this point we've gotten so many different
Time travel
time
explanations. Yeah.
travel, alternate realities, that I think people at this point, whatever you say, it's like okay, whatever. That's okay. I don't care.
Or Back to the Future with that one guy.
The,
I forgot which one it was. Not
no,
Michael J. Fox, the other one.
yeah, the other one, which is kind of funny, like like if
Yeah.
like if you're a movie guy and you know these details, then you would understand like why that joke is funny.
Yeah.
That the
Yeah.
Elephant Man actor, if you want to look him up.
Yeah, but it's funny because they made those references, and then Kevin Bacon was a Top Gun guy, and Michael J. Fox was a Footloose guy, and they just kind of like changed like all these iconic movies. They changed the actor over by one.
Yeah, I mean, I do. So something I like about this movie too, like once he goes back in time and like he changes the tomato cans so that there's this new timeline. Is the fact that now when he's going in the future, he gets stopped, and in the present time there's two berries. I actually like the fact that we get two berries. It kind of reminds me of like we don't do that too often with movies anymore, where we have like two of the same people just playing opposite of each other. And I like that, man. Like that to me worked a lot for me. Like it did. Like I didn't mind it. I know maybe you mentioned like you don't really feel attached to this character of Barry Allen, this actor portraying Barry Allen. But to me, it was just kind of funny, this whole idea of he can see how annoying he is in real life. Like, it's like, oh my God, am I really this terrible? So that
Yeah.
to me, like, really did work. I like the
No,
fact of
yeah,
having
yeah,
two
yeah,
Barrys.
yeah, yeah, and I will say for this version of Barry that they've had, like they do a good job. And then honestly, this whole part of having the same actor be their own twin,
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's the best I've seen, because you can't even
Be-
really tell that they're not in the same room or anything like that.
better than The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, would you say?
I would even venture to say that.
I feel like that's like the one people always go to when thinking about this, but yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it was cool, man. The one thing, and like I'll never know because I don't think there's been any kind of rumors about like a potential different storyline or that they had to like redo the ending of this movie, even though there's been a lot of problems with the production. But I do feel
Mhm.
like they were hinting very hard that the young Barry Allen, he was destined to become the Reverse Flash. I don't know at the end of the day how that would have happened, but just based on like the colors he's wearing, and I don't know, especially
Yeah,
by
oh
the end of the
yeah.
movie when he turns and kind of like becomes evil all of a sudden, like I kind of felt like there's a story plot where we could have gone, the Reverse Flash, and it could have been a reveal that it was this kid that somehow maybe Barry Allen came into his world, ruined his whole life, so then he wants to get revenge on him, and sadly the only way to really like hit him where it hurts is by doing what he did. I don't know. I just feel like they were really trying to like lay that groundwork for him turning into the Reverse Flash.
No, no, because well, for me, so before I even saw the movie, I thought that maybe Reverse Flash was going to be involved. Well, because
Yeah.
they didn't even say like how his mom died,
They never,
or
dude. It's so crazy.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah, yeah,
god.
yeah. Because like in the comics, it was Reverse Flash that did it or whatever. But first when I'm watching this and I'm seeing him go through time, and then when he gets pushed out of time,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the Saboteur thing, which is kind of what they did. They did the remnants or whatever, the other version of him that kind of spun off and kept on living.
Yeah.
But that was my first thought, and
Yeah.
then but I didn't know that the one that he came back to do was going to be the one that was going to become that other one. I
Yeah.
thought it was just going to be some other version of him at some point.
I
But
cause,
it was kind of cool. I liked how they did that part.
yeah, because I know a lot of the complaints sometimes is that like when you have a hero, like you just saw Blue Beetle, I haven't seen it, but sometimes when you have a hero, you make him face off against another villain that has similar powers. It's something that's always being done, like with Ant-Man. He fought Yellow Jacket, which also has kind of like the
Yeah,
same powers. So I think honestly, I
Captain
would have
America, Red Skull.
like, dude, I would have liked it so much better if we would have gone like the third act and Barry Allen was fighting somebody that had the Speed Force. Because then, to me, I would have liked how the budget would have been, how like things could have been represented. I don't think I've ever gotten like a really good interpretation of two speedsters like fighting at that level.
Finding each
So
other, yeah.
I think, I mean, the closest you can probably come is like Superman fighting the Flash or something like that. But to me, that would have been really cool. This idea of like they're just running so fast, going around the world. People don't even know what's happening. Like, I would have think that would have been a little bit more, again, better than what
We're
we got.
we're we're definitely worth the budget.
Yeah. Uh, but I mean, they did follow the whole, like when Barry loses his powers and then the younger one gets it. That was kind of like, that brought an interesting take to it because then you're kind of having to teach this kid this younger Barry how to use his powers. And I do like the scene where
This
he just kind of like,
annoying Barry, yeah.
dude, I like to see where he just like ran out and then all of a sudden he's like butt naked in the street and he causes so much chaos.
Dude, no lie, I got so many reference to like so much imagery of like cartoons, like the old school cartoons with like the Looney Tunes or whatever. You have it with that truck, like with all the instruments falling out, and then like just fire and just like all this craziness happening, and like his clothes are on fire, and he's like trying to take them off, and
Yeah.
honestly, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that to me worked. Or even when he came back, and then all of a sudden his butt ass naked like goes down to like the neighbors
Oh
below
yeah, when he
him,
tries to phase, yeah,
and it's so
he
cool
does it
that
again.
it's so cool that he's like Barry keeps kind of being like, you can't do these, or I got to teach you, but then he keeps like doing them instantly. It's like, dude, this Barry Allen can like all of a sudden, like I don't know if he's just like more confident and he can just like do things just from like watching somebody doing it once. But like, dude, he does all
He
these
probably
cool things
has
like
less
right away.
trauma.
Yeah, less drama. I guess that could have an impact on your life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that that trauma could impact your life?
But I mean, I think soon after that, that's kind of like, again, they go kind of to his apartment, you meet the roommates, and then they go, they go to find the
Yeah.
Batman. So, we get the whole Michael Keaton, which I did like the whole, they broke into his house and they go to the kitchen, and I like that whole, his reveal, how he's fighting them off, but you got the one
Mhm.
Barry that can just dodge everything, and then you got the other one that's getting his ass
Yeah.
beat. How did you
Yeah.
like that?
Uh, I liked it because like I was totally not expecting it because I didn't know how they were gonna do it because like I already knew that Michael Keaton was gonna be in the movie, but I didn't know how they were gonna introduce him or anything. And then you kind of see the Wayne Manor being like such disrepair, and it was like, oh, well, it kind of makes sense because Alfred, like by now he's got to be dead, so it's not like
Yeah.
he's really maintaining the mansion, and that was really like all that Bruce still had left. So it totally makes sense that he would kind of just go into his work and become a loner, and the estate would go into like such disrepair.
Dude, I wish when they went into the Batcave, if you're a fan of the animated Batman cartoon from the 90s, anytime you got a glimpse of Batman's his Batcave, he always had all these like things around in his Batcave about villains that he fought, like
Yeah,
almost like he was keeping trophies or just things about.
memorabilia.
Exactly. So I almost wish that we went to the Batcave, we would have seen a lot more of that, because then I kind of had an idea what kind of adventures this Batman had. The only thing that
Mhm.
we kind of get close to seeing is like he has all these bat suits in the Batcave, like different ones, which again, I'm not mad that they just went back to the original one, but I would have liked it if there had been some acknowledgement of like, hey, I'm 70 years old. Like, I just can't kick ass the way I used to when I was like 30. So now I have this other suit that kind of gives me a little bit more of like extra strength, or, I'm able to move a little bit better with it. He doesn't have to go full Iron Man, but I do feel that was something that they could have done to. I think they were just trying to get, dude, they were trying so hard to get everybody that had seen the 90s Batman and was a fan of that it kind of like blew up in their face, man. Like this whole like, no, we have to focus on people that really love the 1988 Batman, and it sucks, man, because I think they just went too hard with that.
Yeah. I agree. That's kind of like the good and the bad. Like I think to kind of go off of what you said with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I think. Well, one, I think that that is such a great and brilliant idea that the original Flashpoint has. That like
Yeah,
when
his
you go
dad.
back, that it's his dad that becomes Batman because Bruce is the one that dies in the alley, and then you kind of have like all these other different like versions of people and
Do,
things. And
well, do
uh,
you know who becomes the Joker in that alternate timeline?
isn't it
It's his
the Commissioner
mom.
Gorner?
No, it's his mom.
Oh.
So
Oh
when
yeah.
So his mom, and you know what the funny thing about, in going back to, in this universe, who has been established as who? It's actually Maggie from The Walking Dead that plays Martha Wayne. So they could have gotten Negan
Oh
and
yeah.
Maggie. Both of them could have like been in this movie. One of them as being Batman, the other as the Joker. And we didn't have to get like a full scenes with them, just like glimpses to make people like excited about that universe. But
Yeah.
again, man, it's like, dude, you're dropping like, man, it's like they were just dropping good ideas on the floor.
Yeah, and it's also when like Atlantis is at war with Themyscira, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, like all this stuff, man, all this interesting stuff that happens in the Flashpoint. And that's the problem, that it's like everything that we got in this new world. It's like, again, I think the Sod stuff is so boring. Because first of all, I don't think anybody really care about Sod. I like the actor. I'm a fan
I
of the
love the
original.
actor.
I like the Superman movie that we got with Henry Cavill, but this whole idea of like people were asking for that character to be back, like, no, dude. Honestly, you would have sold more seats with Danny DeVito or Arnold as the Mr. Freeze. I'm telling you, than having
No, but like
Saw.
I see, that's the thing. I don't think that they could have done serious villains though.
No, absolutely no. They would have to have still been like kind of like a joke
Yeah,
part
but
of it.
I think this movie needed like a serious villain, so it was either that or like one of the Dark Knight villains.
Yeah.
Of either like the Scarecrow from the no, because Scarecrow's not even big enough for something like this. So it
Yeah.
would have to be like Bane or I don't know.
Cause yeah, I mean, not to again go to the ending, but we find out that when Barry like solves all these problems, it's freaking George Clooney that he's going
I
forward,
know.
like being the Batman. And dude, I love that line when it's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, dude, that shit's like, I think he's speaking for the audience, at least some of the younger ones that probably had no idea. It's like, yeah, who
Yeah,
the
I
hell
know.
is that?
I loved it though. I love that they did it.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, I already kind of showed you the thumbnail for this, but it plays with that idea. But yeah, man. I mean, I something I really do like about this movie. Again, I'm kind of like shitting on it while being positive on it. I do like the whole Kara. Is that her name?
Dude,
Superman's
yeah,
cousin.
Kara Zora.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like the idea of like, hey, they caught Superman. They think that he's being held in the, in this Russian prison, and it's actually when they go to it, it's like Supergirl. And I like that a lot. Like, I like that actress a lot. I like everything they did with her. I think, even the CGI wasn't too terrible with her. I got a little bit more of a kind of glimpse of why it could have been terrible. Maybe when she first starts being Supergirl. But no, I like
Hmm.
that actress a lot, man. I think I could have done a lot. I could do a lot more with her, honestly.
Dude, yeah, and considering everything that she went through, like you kind of saw like the pain that
Mm-hmm.
like she was under, and the pain that she still had, like the residual pain that she had afterwards, and why she was so grim. So I think that like they played the Supergirl part of it beautifully, because like her whole goal was to live Krypton and protect uh uh Superman or
Yeah,
Kal-El,
yeah,
like on this trip, and like in the comics or like in the real story, they end up kind of separating, and then Kal-El ends up on Earth first, and then by the time that she gets to Earth, like he's already like older or whatever.
older. Yeah,
Yeah. But like in this one, he never made it to Earth, and then you find out that because like Zod intercepted his capsule or whatever, and then when she did make it to Earth, she was like in captured pretty much by the Soviets, and or Russians or whatever, for who knows how long. It must have been
yeah.
years, because I think she was like a teenager when she left Krypton.
Yeah, they
So
must have like she must have landed and they must have like caught her in her escape pod, and I don't know at what point they realized that you just can't ever give her sunlight because she becomes
yeah,
immediately super strong. But I like that, man. I like this whole idea that like when you get to her, Michael Keaton's Batman's almost like, let's go, like it's not who we're looking for, then let's leave. But then Barry's the one's like pushing for like, no, we gotta save her. And obviously that kind of like pays off, with that whole, later on, she's the muscle, you're looking for somebody to take on Saad, and I mean she's it. But sadly, like every time that she got killed by General Saad, I believed it, man, because General Saad, you find out he's a soldier, he's a general, he has experience.
he's not just any soldier. He's like the biggest and baddest like warrior in Krypton.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, I just, yeah, like, I didn't have any problem with this whole idea that, you just couldn't do anything to like save her, because that's kind of what it becomes, right? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Because like in reality, if you think about it, like in Man of Steel, the reason why Kal-El or Superman is able to beat him is because he's lived here all his life. So he
correct.
learned how to manage his powers and all that stuff. And then Zod had just gotten here, because like in Man of Steel, you even notice that they're like when they lose their helmets or whatever, they're still trying to adjust to like hearing all the
The
voices,
sound, yeah.
and then the speed and the eye lasers and all that stuff, that they're like learning it on the spot, and that'll show you kind of how great of warriors they are, because they're picking it up so quickly, where Superman lived here all his life. With in Kara's case, she was like encapsulated her whole life, so she never really got to learn all that stuff. So she kind of learned at the same time as Zod, and Zod is just a better like warrior. So it
No,
makes sense that he
absolutely.
would win every time.
No, absolutely. I mean, is there anything about that third act fight scene? Like, again, it's not, after rewatching it, it's just something that doesn't really play well with me. Almost like, I'm almost glad that they did that twist, the whole idea of like we just can't save it, and because if it would have just been that whole battle, I think it would have, again, like I like that.
Yeah,
That's something that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, when Barry was fighting all these Kryptonians, I guess the thing that they both kept doing is this whole idea of like building up energy
yeah,
and then just
yeah.
throwing
If
it
you finish
back.
the circuit, yeah.
Um, but I don't know, man. It's just like I don't believe that. Even though I do think the whole idea of like sticking your hand in their heart, that is a way to like immediately kill people. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just like this whole idea either he's not willing to just continuously do that, which I don't understand because he knows this is an army of all Supermans. It's like if I have to do this and become this kind of killer, like I just gotta do it. Like it doesn't matter what I think or what my beliefs is or
Mhm.
what my team would say. Like I just gotta go around and just put my hand through everybody's. But they don't do that, and like I just never believed that they could have physically, just by punching and doing these silly tricks, they could have like taken down these Kryptonians, man. And that's kind of like where, again, if it wasn't for this whole other twist to the movie, like I just it would have lost me.
Dude, and honestly, that's kind of the thing with DC though. Like that's part of the reason why I like DC because like in Marvel, you have like the more realistic heroes and the more realistic situations with the good and the bad. Yeah, you have like the Punishers that are like killing everybody, and then you have like the X-Men that they're having all this like prejudice and all that stuff, and then you have Spider-Man who's like the most DC out of all the characters. Um, and then and all that stuff in Marvel, though, but you just have the more realistic. But in DC, you have like these idealistic heroes. You have Superman that embodies hope and all these ideals that like it doesn't really there's so few people in this world that embody all the values that Superman really does. And same thing with Wonder Woman, even Batman. Like he's a vigilante, but he doesn't kill anybody. He's not
Yeah.
supposed to kill anybody. So I that's one thing that I'm looking forward to James Gunn Superman because he said that he was going to go back to that he was going to go back to the hopeful Superman that
Yeah.
you kind of got in the comics whereas like in the Snyderverse that some people I'm sure are going to complain is like darker, more gritty and all that stuff, but like I don't know, to me that's the thing that I love about DC is that it embodies like the ideal situation where like it just inspires you to be a better person.
No, no,
So
I agree with
yeah.
that, man. Because at the end of the day, I think people sometimes forget that these movies, as much as they're for me and you, they're for kids, man. And again, if somebody wants to be a fan, if your son wants to be a fan of the Flash, and all of a sudden you see the Flash, and the Flash is going around like murdering people, like then you're gonna be like, maybe let's get you into Spider-Man comics, because
Yeah.
that's not the Flash you want, but. I guess the one thing is that we stop,
That's what
we
Teen Titans go.
but then you start getting this very
Yeah.
younger Barry Allen that's like he becomes obsessed with the moment, and the moment like I gotta save
Hmm.
everybody, or I gotta save this moment, this thing has to be perfect. And that's
I,
I
I
really like that, man. I like this
I
whole
thought that
idea
was
because
beautiful.
yeah,
I
like this
thought that
whole
was
idea.
beautiful. Yeah.
Even though I don't really enjoy those CGI for this whole bubble capsule where like they stop time and they can choose their moment. um I just, again, it's just I do like the scene of them. Get a glass of water. I don't want you to die on me.
No, I did. That was the problem. That's why I'm coughing. It went the
If I
wrong
need to
way.
call 911, I don't know how
Call
fast they'll
Ramon.
get
Call
there.
Ramon.
uh, but no, I mean, yeah, that was kind of like an interesting thing to it. I think the CGI at that point is where, again, it would have. Oh my god, had they just done a little bit more, man? It just especially the way that the Barry from the future look, it was just a little bit too much for me. And he's fixed that guy up. If you're gonna make him the one that you should fear or do something more with him, this whole idea he just came in and they have a conversation. Like, I don't know, man. This just I don't really, I'm having trouble now that I've had 3 months to sit with it. I'm just having trouble understanding who those scenes were for. This whole big reveal about like other universes, and then you get
Dude,
at
it
least
was
like
all fan
glimpses.
service. It was
It's all
a
fans.
billion% fan service, and it's not even for like general fans. It's for like the hardcore fans.
I
Because
know.
who else is gonna know like get anything about the Nicolas Cage? Nobody.
The,
And the Spider, no one knows that.
the,
So few people know about Nicolas
dude,
Cage and the Spider.
when I was with, because I watched this movie with Ramon, and when that moment came up, because I told Ramon there's a scene that's supposed to make me like really excited and go really crazy, and like that scene came on, and dude, like seriously, I grabbed his hand and I'm like, holy smokes, I can't believe this is happening because I know the history that's with that,
Yeah,
like I know the history, but I could tell Ramon that's again he's a nerd and he knows the stuff, but like I could tell he had like no idea why that was happening or why Nicolas Cage was being presented as Superman. So to
Superman.
some
Yeah,
so
with the
somebody
giant
like
spider.
him,
Yeah,
yeah, so somebody like him, like he didn't understand it, even though I would say he follows
even
all
though
the.
yeah, he's a nerd, he's a fan, but
Yeah, it
yeah,
just sucks, man. Like they were going too, and it's so funny because I think nobody can even understand who that. They show a glimpse of the old Flash from like the 1920s, and nobody at this point, like
yeah,
I don't think
Garrett.
nobody even knows who that representation was, like what actor, what movie, what TV show, like who was that supposed to be? Like I remember there being a big discussion of like nobody could really say like, oh, they were trying to bring this actor into the picture to pay an homage to him.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah, because Barry Allen was not the first Flash.
no, no, so I don't know, man. It's just it
Yeah.
kind of like again it sucks, and this whole idea of like, well, I guess I gotta go back in time, and I don't know, man. It just again it leaves you kind of wondering, wanting more. Even though this movie was 3 hours, it's almost like a 3 hour movie.
Yeah, I know. Dude, and I do have to ask, like, how did you feel about like when they portrayed like the dead actors, like Christopher Reeve and Adam West and all them?
So the second time I was watching this was with my wife, and I would say she's more the general public than anybody because she doesn't like. Sometimes she'll ask me things while we're watching the movie, and I'll just like, bro, like I'll shake my head in shame, like I failed you as a husband. Uh, I think one of her questions was like, "Wait, Superman needs sunlight to be powerful, like the yellow zones," and I was like, "Oh my god, like yeah." So but either way, it's like to me when I saw that, like it didn't do nothing. I mean, I guess if you're just being respectful, like I understood it. But it didn't do nothing for me. For my wife, like she had no idea who those characters were, like any of them. So like it didn't matter to
Even
her.
Christopher Reeve?
No, she didn't know who that
Oh,
was.
but he was like the Superman
He was.
before Henry
But it's
Cavill.
crazy because my wife, she's younger than me and she doesn't know. But if I was to bring somebody like my older sister who's like 7 years older than me, she would know because she grew up during that time. So it's like, it is like a generation thing, man, where it's like if you
Yeah.
are above this line, like you are going to understand who it is. Because look, me and her, when we were, living in Mexico and you had these things called video stores where you would rent movies, they don't exist anymore, but you could go into a
Wait,
video store.
what?
You could go to a
You
store.
would have to go somewhere to rent movies?
Yes. Like, dude, one of the movies that
Yeah.
we would always rent was like the original Superman. Like, I watched that movie in Mexico like plenty of times because we would rent that movie because
Yeah.
obviously, like the idea of a superhero and then
Hmm.
Superman, it was just like awesome. But yeah, so it just
Hmm.
kind of sucks, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just I think the worst thing that this movie did is that everybody was excited about like this is it, it's gonna end the universe and everything's gonna blow up and then it's gonna be like a fresh restart and then we don't even get that and it's like it's frustrating, man. As a DC fan and the way things are going, because I guess the last movie we're gonna get is Aquaman, and if Aquaman's the one that ends it like in a way that it makes sense, like I'm gonna be so shocked that it was Aquaman the one that like fixed all the problems.
No, but that's a thing though. Like I don't see how it can like unless like
I
there's
don't see
something
it.
in the deep ocean that causes a rift I don't know because like Flash like with Flashpoint was a perfect opportunity to reset the world and get everything ready for the DCU with James Gunn.
Yeah.
But and then Blue Beetle could totally be part of the DCU, the new thing, because he
Mhm.
has no affiliation with anybody yet. The only
Mhm.
issue would have been Aquaman, but then it could have been part of like Elseworlds, unless you're going to keep the same Aquaman. And then you could do something in
Dude,
Flashpoint to kind of make it to tie it into the new world or something. But
Dude, I can't wait to see Blue Beetle because I haven't seen it, but everybody I guess has discovered it. Well, now that you can able to buy it or rent it, they're all loving it, man.
it's a good movie.
Everybody seems to be positive on it. So it's one of these things that I do believe if the character's portrayed very friendly, very likable, like why not put him in this universe? Because I think the reception to the whole movie was actually more positive than the Flash. It also didn't make money, but I think because people are just so down on the
No,
DC stuff.
but yeah, but the good thing too with Blue Beetle is that it did have a like a lower budget too because it was
Okay,
supposed
yeah, it
to
was like
be
100, right?
yeah, because it was supposed to go straight to Max. but then they were liking it and they liked the hyper on it, so then they increased the budget to make it like a motion picture thing in
Dude,
theaters, and then they released it.
dude, we need to make a date, me and you, for this Friday because I think this Friday this movie called The Creator is coming out in movie theaters, and it
Yeah,
looks
I've seen.
it looks amazing. It looks like one of the best looking movies, and based on like early reviews, everybody's saying how amazing it looks. And the fact that it was made for $80 million, it's fucking blowing my mind. When you got a show like Secret Invasion that cost like 220
Oh my
million, you got The Flash that cost all this money, but then here comes the director having a vision, and somehow he made a movie that looks way better than all of them from what I can see, and he made it for $80 million. Like, I really can't wait to see that movie, man. So if you don't have plans on Friday night or Thursday night, just hit me up because we're gonna date together.
All right. Can I take Elias?
Yes, you can take it.
My son. All right.
Man, but not to get too much off the whole Flash stuff. Again, I don't know. I like the final joke. That whole idea of like, as a joke,
George
it made me
Clooney.
laugh. But
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
it's a going forward kind of thing. I don't know how that would work, but I liked it, man. And I kind of showed you a picture of like what his costume looked, when he was doing the Batman. And I gotta say, man, like something about seeing it with my eyes now, I'm like, that doesn't look terrible, actually. Like, why is it that this Batman for some reason looks better than the Batmans we're getting today? I don't know. Maybe not the Robert Pattinson, because I kind of like that Batman, but definitely
Yeah.
there's something to this whole look that his Batman had in that movie, George Clooney's Batman.
Well. The thing with George Clooney is that he's probably been the best Bruce Wayne because George Clooney is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like the character of Bruce Wayne.
Oh yeah.
That Batman always played.
The
Like George
charm.
Clooney. Yeah. That is George Clooney. George
You,
Clooney is the epitome of what
you
Bruce Wayne in the public is.
You know what? You're absolutely right, because I'm trying to think like who are these like Bruce Wayne's actors that play Bruce Wayne? Who could
Val
actually be
Kilmer.
be a
Val Kilmer.
playboy and seduce these women and like constantly having like one night stands? And it's like, yeah, George Clooney. He would be the one that you would believe.
The millionaire playboy, George Clooney.
Oh my god! Again, I don't know, man. Something again. I don't know. I say like if I was giving it a fresh score today, I would say like I wouldn't give it a fail. I would be like right in the middle. If it's like 1 to 10, maybe like a 5, because I think you can find some enjoyment watching this movie. But at the end of the day, man, I don't know if now that I've seen it 2 times, I don't know if I'll ever really go back for any scene in that movie. Like I don't know if there's anything in that movie that would make me want to like rewatch it.
I don't remember what I gave it because I did rank it on Letterbox. Originally when I saw it, but
yeah.
Now going back, I don't remember what grade I gave it initially, but like I would still give it probably like 6.5, 7, because like it's even with the flaws, I still think it's a good movie. I think the execution of it,
Yeah.
the majority of it works.
Yeah.
There's definitely things that I would do differently and I would change, but I think in all totality, it's actually a good movie.
No, I'm looking at your review. You gave it a 3.5. I didn't do a review for it, but I would probably, I think at the time I would have done the same, or I would have agreed with you. Maybe now I'll give it a 3, if not a 2.5, maybe a 3. But again, man, it just kind of sucks because at some point, I do believe that the studio kind of just gave up on this movie because of obvious reasons that you already brought up early on. And that kind of like blows because this movie could have been big. It's a fan of the Flash, like the character himself and the powers.
Flash is my favorite DC character. That's the thing.
And I don't know, man. I don't know unless they bring a new Flash and we just see some really cool, fun things with that character being done. Where it's like, okay, let's give it another shot, man. I don't know when we're gonna get another just focus on the Flash movie.
At this point, they might as well like not even bring in a new Barry Allen. Maybe bring in like a new Kid Flash or something, or even just Quick or one of the other like speedsters that ends up being a big part. But I don't know.
But yeah, and then like I really don't think I don't know what's gonna happen with Ezra Miller, his career after this. I'll be be interesting to see in the future. But again, I wish them the best. But is there any final thoughts, man, that you want to kind of like talk about this movie, or do you want to just spend like the last 10 minutes as we did, as we have been doing in other reviews, just talking about like things that we've seen or things that you want to like promote?
No, I don't want to talk about anything ever again. No, I'm kidding. I just want to mention that, like, I think that DC's in a little bit of trouble because before the year started, they had like this year was going to be like the huge year for them with like a bunch of movies coming out. And then like they've had a lot of flops in a row because even Black Adam didn't do great, and then the whole change in everything, and then like now people don't
Dude,
even think like none of these movies matter, which is what happens with Flash, which will happen with Blue Beetle. Even though I think Blue Beetle can carry over, but I think it did well enough that hopefully they do carry him over because I like it.
dude, it's crazy because like now, I haven't seen Blue Beetle, but if you're taking me back and like, from when the
Wonder
you
Woman
just
too.
not the
Black
Rock
Adam.
movie, Black Adam. I honestly, when I was watching that at home, because I didn't give it any of my money, I didn't hate
Yeah.
Black Adam. My
No.
biggest problems with that movie was the third act ending with the CGI villain. Like that just sucked, and like I didn't like
Oh
the
yeah,
fact
I
that
agree.
he refused. And I still blame him. I still blame The Rock for the fact of not having
Shazam.
Shazam in it, like, or making any references. I think that was like the most idiotic thing that they could have done with that movie. But
Yeah.
honestly, like going back, it's like, damn, it's sad. It's so crazy that in a world of these kind of movies, like Black Adam at least has some really cool scenes to them, to the movie,
Yeah.
like some really like exciting scenes. And it's just like none of these other movies have really done anything to make me excited for anything, like to rewatch them, any of them. The Batman with Matt Reeves, I mean, obviously that one's just like on another
Oh
different
yeah.
level. Yeah.
And the Joker with
Yeah.
what's his name? But yeah. So yeah,
Um,
so like honestly, right now, everything that you kind of have to look forward to is in the Elseworlds part of the
yeah.
DCU.
Well, I look forward to seeing Blue Beetle and talking about it because I think we are going to talk about that one. And when we talk about that, I got a feeling it's going to be a little bit more positive on the conversation because I think we're going to have a lot to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
I recently just saw the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, the
Keep,
new one.
keep going.
And
I'll be back. I gotta show you something.
okay, Ro was doing his like flash, so he managed to get out of his chair, and holy shit, he just came back from Mexico and he brought back. Dude, that's super cool.
I know.
I am always tempted to buy these things when I go to AMC, depending on what it is and the price point. Like sometimes I do not. But no, the only thing I just wanted to plug, my final thoughts on the Flash, sucks. The production sucks. Everything about it sucks. It sucks that we never got
Yeah.
the Batman girl or what, Batgirl. It sucks that we never got Batgirl the movie because I think Michael Keaton was
Oh
supposed to also make
yeah.
an appearance in that. I
Yeah.
just want to stop. Like I just want to start watching these movies and actually enjoying them. I'm sad that people keep screaming about the whole Snyderverse. Like I think we just need to move past that, or else I'm gonna be 50-year-olds and people are still gonna be screaming about that. But let's just focus on good movies, man. Having good movies with good characters, and hopefully studios are learning the lesson that just because I spent 300 million, it's not gonna make a good movie. Like let's actually focus on storytelling and having a good plot point, and I think they're gonna see better returns. And then the only thing I just wanted to plug, 'cause I don't know if we'll talk about this, but I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I thought it was awesome. It actually, I think if I had seen it in the movie theater, I would have enjoyed it even more. So I'm kind of sad about that. But that movie really, really, like from a movie that like my expectations were like low, I came out so high after my watch of that.
Well, I did see it in the movie theaters, and I saw it with my son. So, like, I'll tell you that my son loved it, and then like now that it's on streaming, he's like watched it like a couple more times. He even started watching like the OG 1980s
Oh,
uh
really?
Ninja Turtles because of it. Yeah,
No,
yeah, because they have them on like on Paramount, I think, on Paramount
we might have
Plus.
to talk about that because I think there is a lot of history with us, where, the Ninja Turtles, the original movies, and then there's been different interpretations of it. The Michael
Yeah.
Bay, some of the animated ones. But this one, dude, it was so funny. Like, I just want to say the whole milking joke, which I thought was kind of like this is going nowhere. They kept bringing it up. It paid
I
off.
know
Like
it was hilarious, and then it paid off. They paid it
it paid,
off.
it paid out big time. Like I don't know what the movie theater reaction was for that joke, man, but
It was
I was laughing.
hilarious.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
obviously they hit gold by having Jackie Chan voice Splinter, and then when Splinter's
Yeah.
fighting, he's doing like the Jackie Chan moves. The whole fighting with his environment. Like, dude, it's this
Uh-huh.
like this is done so well. Like, so I look
Dude, and
forward to
yeah, and even the voices that they had everywhere, I thought they were awesome.
yeah. So hopefully we get to talk about those two movies, Blue Beetle and Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. Man, that title's so long, but
Teenage
but
Mutant Ninja Turtles,
yeah.
Mutant Mayhem.
But dude, thanks for joining me. I think we got what we wanted to say about the Flash. Kind of sucks that we were more positive. So if you were looking for that positive experience, it kind of sucks. I
Yeah.
think we could have given it to you had we talked about it as soon as we came out of the movie theater. But once you
Yeah.
had time to sit with something, just your real feelings kind of start to show.
Yeah.
uh,
But yeah,
which
and I will say I've been watching The Wheel of Time too. That one's actually pretty
okay.
good.
Oh my god,
The season started a little slow, but it picks up quick, and it's pretty awesome right now.
dude. So I've been talking about how I've been watching Suits on Netflix. And dude, you know what? I'm on like the fourth season, and this is gonna sound. I don't know how this is gonna sound, but something that I'm loving about it is that
Is this a spoiler?
no, it's not a spoiler. Something that
Okay.
I've been loving about it is that nowadays, the traditional thing to do is like you do 12 episodes for a season, 10 episodes, 8 episodes, like really solid episodes. So I've been trained to expect that from shows because that's kind of the shows that I've been watching a lot lately. So when I'm watching like season 3 or season 4, I always expect them to be like wrapping it up around like 12. But then next, like they continue for like 6 more episodes. So like I'm getting like seasons that are like 18 episodes or 20 episodes. And dude, I gotta say, man, like something about like getting 20 episodes for one season, like I miss, like just the fact that there's that much more to watch it before you go to a new season, and it's
Well,
like
dude, with Flash, like the show, it's like
yeah.
24 episodes, 22 episodes. Yeah,
So maybe I gotta go back and just start once I'm done with Suits, watch The Flash, and then finish The Walking Dead because I dropped off after they killed
I
somebody
know,
that I
I
really like. I
know,
was mad about.
I do
But
too.
yeah, man, it's just something about like in a world where I'm saying like do fresh ideas. I do like the idea that I'm watching Suits, and it's like again I'm getting like 18 episodes, and it's like I'm enjoying it just because I know nowadays that's kind of like unheard of. Like for all these new shows, everything's like 10 episodes, 12 episodes. It's like cool,
6
like
episodes even sometimes.
yeah, like getting a show about lawyers and it's like 18, 20 episodes. Like it's awesome, dude. I'm loving that. So props to like everybody involved in that show. They should be getting their money. So
Yeah,
hopefully we get
yeah.
into the writer's strike soon.
No, yeah, and that's part of the reason why they have the writer's strike is because before, like when seasons were that long, the writers were working a lot longer.
Yeah,
But
they
like
had a
now,
job for longer. Yeah.
yeah. But like now, that shows are like 8 episodes and maybe 10 episodes. Like they work for a lot shorter, and then they got to look for another job. So like now they got to get 2 jobs where before they only had one.
No, and like this whole idea that Suits is like the number one show like in Netflix has ever had, and the creators, the actors, they're not really getting money. It's like, dude, you picked the wrong time for the show to get so popular because it's bringing so much attention into like these problems, man. So
Yeah.
f the studios, man, f them. They need to pay their actors because again, I think without the creators, you don't got nothing, and the actors,
Dude,
so the
dude,
writers,
honestly,
yeah,
the studios that do the right things are the studios that like do well. Like that's why
yeah,
A24 is doing so well because they let their creators create, and they're smart with their budgets and they bust out with great movies. That's why like some of the studios are doing that. That's why Warner Brothers is doing so badly now, is because they micromanage all their creators and then they end up screwing everything up because they just care about money and not making good entertainment.
yeah. Again, man, it kind of sucks. Is like, me watching the Flash movie, I expected to kind of be done with this whole DC universe, but obviously Aquaman still coming out. So hopefully that'll be it. That'll be the last time that we talk about this universe before we move on to hopefully what I'm hoping is going to be better things with this DC. But thanks a
Yeah,
lot
I
for
agree.
joining me, Ro. I will talk to you soon. Adios.
Thank you.